Okay, we are recording. All right. So let's start out this call looking at, let's see, one of the main tenets of this. Let's start with this. Okay. So time management. There's no such thing really as time management. It's really managing the events in our lives. And there are certain tools that you need, and you can use tools that are available digitally or physically. I've been using time management tools since the early 90s. Um, I paid for originally a R. Hobbs program, Charles R. Hobbs, which was the guy that put together, there's been a lot of them. Alan Lakin wrote a book about time management. So did the guy from Get It Now, John Allen. But the first course I went to was a course called Time Power. And the person running it was Charles R. Hobbs. And Hiram Smith was a trainer with Hobbs. And so eventually they broke away. Uh, Hobbs liked to use a system called the day timer. And Hiram said, listen, why don't we just get them to create the planner the way we want? Because what they would do is it only had one little box to indicate priority and then a little box, there was no little box to check off. And so Hiram wanted them to add that, and Daytimer didn't want to change the paper. And so he told Mr. Hobbs that he was going to start his own company. And he started the Franklin Planner Company and created his own planner. And today, you can imagine that Daytimer is kicking their goddamn ass because the whole principle, the whole tool was the planner, the paper-based planner. And so there was a fortune that they lost on that stupid, simple decision by saying, that's not the way we do it. We've always done it this way. So they missed out on the whole idea. Eventually, Charles R. Hobbs sold his training program to the Daytimer Company, but it never took off as well as Franklin Covey did. And Franklin Covey added a couple of things to the mix. The main thing is what's called the productivity pyramid. And the first step in the productivity pyramid is to identify your values, which we've kind of done. And many of the tools that Franklin uses are the tools that Paul Meyer taught in terms of productivity and setting goals. Why? Because both Charles Hobbs and Hiram Smith bought programs from Paul. And so they realized, but what they found is that there was an incongruity because you had this separate plan of action. And so you're writing your goals into this plan of action. You're putting in there in the goal sheet, you're putting in there what your goals are, what the actions you have to take, all the deadlines, but there's no tool for implementation. Now you're going to a time management system that most people used a simple planner that was basically a calendar where you opened it up and it was a pocket-sized one, and or you had a desk calendar on your desk, but there was really no system. So they brought about a system, and as a result, I think half of the Fortune 500, if not 80% of the Fortune 500 companies, all started using the Franklin Planner system. And consequently, I mean, companies like Hewlett Packard back in the day, IBM, EDC, I mean, big names of that era, Ford Motor Company and General Motors both jumped on this because in that time period in the 90s, the idea was that the economy was not thriving. And so the corporatees, people said, we have to get more people, we have to get people more productive. One person has to be able to do the work of two people. And that was not so much in the physical arena in working with your hands, but in the mental part, you know, the people that work with paper and people. And so the first part of identifying your value is identifying your values. Then from your values, you create your goals. Then from your goals, you plan weekly what you're going to do this week. Then you're going to create your daily plan. So that's how the whole pyramid started. And this was originally an idea that Hiram put together. The content of it was Charles Hobbs. He just didn't lay it out in the format like you see here. So the first part is to determine our values. And for that, we have a tool called the Wheel of Life. Now, everybody that's on this call and everybody that's in the mastermind will get a copy of this, which is an added thing that I created. Let's see, where is it hiding from me? Okay, oh, here it is. You're going to get this PDF of the story behind the Wheel of Life, along with some instructions if you haven't done it, or instructions that'll help you do it better if there's such a thing. And so the whole concept of the Wheel of Life, let me just get rid of this. Okay. The story of the Wheel of Life is essentially the story of Paul J. Meyer. And what Paul did is when he was a teenager, he would work with bicycles. Father wouldn't buy him a bicycle, so consequently he would build them himself. He'd go down to the junkyard and build them. And one of the toughest part about a bike is if the rim is bent or the spokes are not tight enough, the wheel does not roll smoothly. And Paul came up with the idea that if a person's life is too focused in one area, then it's like a wheel and it's not going to roll smoothly. So while we may not have balance in each area of our lives, we should strive for it. And the way you achieve balance in each area of life is by setting a goal in each area of life. Okay, now we focus on 3 areas in the statement, which is your financial. I call this family and relationships rather than home, because a home itself, in my opinion, would be something in the financial area because you need money for a home. But Paul put home in terms of the hearth, where the love is. So relationships. So financial, relationships, and health. Those are the 3 areas that I focus on for everybody in the statement. And so 3 areas are left for you to decide what you want to set goals in that. And that would be mental and educational. That could be something like setting a goal to read a certain number of books a year, or to attend a number of seminars or a seminar. To go back and get your PhD, as Toby ended up doing, getting his master's degree, which was a goal, he said, that was 20 years in the making. Social could be something as simple as an old adage, which was to have a friend, be a friend. Perhaps it's to have friends over once a month. Culturally, it could be to go to the Museum of Natural History, to make a plan to visit the Louvre, to get involved in an art course, to maybe it's to become a connoisseur of fine wines. Whatever it is, these are the areas that you may want to think about, and we're going to talk about a tool to get you there. Physically and health, that could be if your cholesterol is high, to set a goal. At one point in my life, because of fast food, my cholesterol was 250. Yeah, my cholesterol was 250. And within 90 days, I brought it down below 150. My doctor was amazed. He said, "What did you do?" I said, "I stopped eating McDonald's, French fries mostly, and I started eating Chinese food." And because of my personal trainer, Pat, he got me hooked into eating a steamed chicken. And so I would buy steamed chicken for lunch instead of McDonald's, and I would use hot sauce because steamed chicken has no taste. It's very tasteless. And I'd have some white rice and some steamed vegetables, usually steamed broccoli, and that would be my lunch, and there'd be enough to have a little bit left over for dinner. So because of my switch in diet, in fact, I remember this very clearly, the Chinese delivery person that came by every week got to know me, and after about a month or 2 or 3, I don't know exactly the time frame, he turns to me and he goes, "You look better." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Because of the steam, because you're eating all steamed food, your skin looks better." And I was like, "Really?" I'm a guy, I don't pay attention to that crap. And I'm like, "Okay." I went home and I said to my wife, do you think my skin looks better?" And being a good wife, she said, "Shut the fuck up and go to sleep." Excuse my French. But side benefit, your skin looks better. I wasn't aware of that. So spiritually, your goal could be to meditate once a day, or meditate once a week, or to go away to a spiritual retreat, to get in touch with your version of God, to create your own version of God for some people. If you're not religious or spiritual, then it would be something of ethics. Maybe your goal would be to follow the golden rule, do no harm to others, as the great Dalai Lama has said. The goal of life is to do no harm. Okay, if you can't help, then don't hurt. That's simple idea. So what we're going to do is you'll get this PDF. I'll upload it to the website when we're done here. Let's see, we have a little message here. Hi, I'm on. What's it say? Kathy says, well, hi, I'm on, so I will not be able to. Oh, you're on a plane. Okay. Safe flight. Okay. So let's go and take a look at the Covey course. So basically, if you will type in Franklin Planner, if you will create an account with them, they will allow you to go through this course. And let's make sure that everybody can see it. Okay. So this is the Franklin Covey Planner course. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the planner course today, right here, right now. We're going to do this. And let me just maximize this. So this is pretty much, I went through it now twice. It's pretty much, it's good always to review things, right? Repetition is the mother of skill. It's the power principle in Think and Grow Rich. So what they do is with this course will take about 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to go through it with everybody and ask you questions rather than me just reading everything. So as it says, the base of productivity begins with values, what they call governing values. And Hiram Smith's quote was that when your daily activities are in concert with your highest priorities, you have a credible claim to inner peace. To put that in Napoleon Hill language, when your daily activities are a result of what your goals are in life, then you have a claim to inner peace. So let's talk a little bit about why you want to do something. Nobody wants money for the sake of having money. What we want is the things that money can do for us. It's money that we can use to donate to charities, to build a charity, to build a trust for our children, to buy a new home, to have financial security so we never have to worry about taking care of ourselves or our loved ones in the future. Whatever it is, those are the things that we must focus on. And once you're taking steps to achieve those things that you've identified, you will have a credible claim to inner peace. So as you can see here, those are the steps. Identify your values. What are your values? What do you see as a 10 financially? You know, one of the exercises we do is the Wheel of Life. And part of the Wheel of Life is to take each area of life and ask yourself, where am I financially and career on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm 7. Okay. Now, a guy who's making $1 million a year could say he's a 7. And a guy making or gal making 50,000 a year, she could say she's at a 9. It's totally subjective. It's about where you are in life and your level of inspirational dissatisfaction. Okay? Paul Meyer used to say that the greatest motivator is inspirational dissatisfaction. If you're happy with everything you have in life, you will not have any inspired dissatisfaction. So in essence, as humans, we can never truly be happy with everything. If we do, then we basically go into a rut. That's really what happens. We are, by design or by inspiration, a goal-seeking mechanism. If you're satisfied with everything, what you're not going to have in life is purpose. People that don't have a purpose, you know, they say that the average person that retires dies within 12 months of having retired. My ex-father-in-law, I hate saying that word because he passed away, so he's still my father-in-law, passed away within a year after retiring. He didn't have any purpose anymore. He was a baker. He wasn't getting up at 2, 3 in the morning to go bake bread and bake pastries and all that. No purpose anymore. So having a purpose, and I know that conflicts with some of other religious teachings, mostly Eastern philosophical thinking, which is that the truest extent of suffering, all human suffering, in terms of Eastern spirituality, is that all spirituality comes from wanting. Because if you want something and you don't have it, you suffer. That's the basis of Buddhism. You just got a lesson on Buddhism. So therefore, Buddhism teaches us that we should want nothing outside of ourselves. The problem with that concept in terms of reality is that if you never want anything better, then your society will never grow. And that's why, as bad as we are under capitalism or good, other societies that embraced those types of ideas did not flourish as well in terms of financial wealth. You know, in terms of country, I believe we're still, our gross national product is larger than India's by 100-fold. Our gross national product is still higher than most other countries. So using that as the measurement stick. Now, is happiness a measuring stick? No. But happiness is not a state that you can create. Happiness is a state that is because of something. You can't just sit there and say, I am happy, and be happy. In order to achieve that state or that emotion of happiness, there must be a idea, a thought of something that you did in the past which makes you happy, or something that's going to happen in the future that's going to make you happy. So you can't be happy. Something has to make you happy. I know that's a hard concept because I've heard people tell me, Bert, my goal in life is to be happy. And I said, how are you going to do that? I don't know, because I'm just going to be happy. Well, you can't just be happy. Try it. I want everybody here for 5 seconds to be happy, but not think of anything that makes them happy, and just be happy. It's hard. In order to achieve it, you have to think of something to make you happy. Now, it could be buying something. It could be doing something. It could be loving somebody. But happiness is related to something else. It's not a state in itself. Anger is the same way. Most emotions are. Most emotions are a reflection of something else. It's our interpretation. In NLP, you know, they teach us about perceptions and context. And I think last week I shared with everybody a little bit of that idea on the call. And that is, you know, the example that I used was, one person's perception. We judge people based on their behavior and actions. That's how we judge people. But we don't take into consideration context. So the example I used was kids were on this train and they were making a ruckus and running back and forth, and their father did nothing. And so this older gentleman who was trying to read a book got mad, walked up to the father and said, "Sir, would you please calm your children down? Would you take control of them? Please, I can't read my book, and it's a long train ride before I get to my destination." The father looked up at him and said, "Sir, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. I apologize. I wish I knew how to take control of them. But you see, we just came from their mother's funeral. And so I allow them to go crazy because I don't want them thinking about that they'll never have their mother again. And that the rest of their lives, they'll remember this day as a bleak day in their lives." He says, "And I wish I had the idea of how, but she took care of the kids. I was busy working and she took care of the home, and I really never learned how to do that. So please forgive me." Well, the guy sat back down. Now, you know how he felt. He probably felt like a POS, right? Piece of shit. But what changed? The gentleman saw the behavior and judged on the behavior. But once he understood the context, he changed his opinion more than likely. So we judge people based on their behavior, but we never ask the context of it. Your boss walks into work. He has a growl on his face. He normally says hello to you, waves at you when he walks in. Today, he just walks right by you in a huff. So you take the impression, hey, the boss is pissed off about something. Or my boss doesn't like me. What did I do? Depending on your level of ego, right? And confidence. So you're like, wow, you know, what's going on with him? All day long, he's like this. You know, maybe we're all getting fired. Maybe the company is shrinking. Maybe, you know, so finally, you know, he goes to be in front of you and he says, "Hey, listen, I'm really sorry. I walked in a huff, but I don't know how to deal with it. My wife just told me that she wants a divorce, and I really don't know what to do. I'm just overwhelmed." So look at the difference now. So what's the difference? Before, judging on behavior, the guy's a jerk. The company's going out of business. Something horrible is going to happen. Now, based on context, it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. The guy's going through something. So don't judge people too quickly on their behavior. Try to find out the context. What happened? before you come to judgment. And that's one of the things that we must do in life. And it's not easy to do. I'll grant you that. The basic premise of this science is that anybody can achieve anything. Okay? Anything that you desire, you can achieve. All that you have to have is faith that you can achieve it and patience to receive the plan. But in the meantime, that you're going to take action. And as Paul Meyer and some Tony Robbins and other people have said, because it's a premise of this science and NLP, is that anything that you want to accomplish, you can. As long as you break it down into manageable, bite-sized pieces. And that's what leads us back to this training. This is all about taking your values and then identifying your goals and then breaking down those goals into manageable, bite-sized pieces. And then having a system where it gets into your daily activity. Because it's great to write down these goals on a piece of paper, but if you never take action on them, if they never flow into your daily activity, you'll never accomplish them. It's just a waste of your time. So let's mark this complete and go to the next one. Okay, so what we want to do is identify our governing values. Does anybody have, yeah, go ahead, somebody.
Values, are those, I surmise values are things that are important to us.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine we're going to go into it a little bit more, but do you have some context around definition of values?
Yeah, this program was based around the name Franklin Planner came from Benjamin Franklin. And Benjamin Franklin wrote many books, but it was in his autobiography that he wrote himself, where he said that if he had one idea to pass along to his son, it was the idea of creating a book to identify his values and then to monitor those values on a daily basis. And that's where the concept of the Franklin Planner came by. Ben Franklin had a little booklet, and he wrote down things like to be frugal. He recognized that that was a good value to have, to be frugal. So he had a little affirmation that he wrote underneath it, which was be frugal. And then each week, he had 13 values. Each week, he would identify a value that he was going to work on. He didn't try to work on all of them. He would work on one per week and let the rest be on their own. And consequently, that week, he focused on just being frugal. Hold on one second. And consequently, he monitored his expenses a little tighter. The idea was that each year, you would go through each of these values 4 times. And consequently, it would get your ability to act on these values, to internalize them, would become stronger. It is that same idea that Napoleon Hill used in creating Think and Grow Rich. 13 principles, 1 to be studied each week. And so some things that might be of value would be family. Something of another value could be growth, education, career, freedom, financial security. These are ideas that you can use, and you can download, well, here, let's do it now. Download Ben Franklin's original 13. So his original 13 was temperance. The affirmation, eat not to dullness, drink not to elevation. He liked both. He was a little bit of a drinker and a little bit of a foodie. Silence, speak not, but what may benefit others or yourself. Avoid trifling conversations. Order, let all your things have their places. Let each part of your business have its time. Frugality, there it is. Make no expense, but to do good to others or yourself, i.e. waste nothing. And the one that he said he had the hardest time with was humility. Imitate Jesus and Socrates. He originally came up with a list of these, and he came up with 12 of them. And then he showed the list to a pious Mormon friend of his, and he said, is there anything missing in my list? And he said, yes. He said, you should add humility, because you need to be humble. You're not a humble man, Mr. Franklin. And so Ben Franklin said at the end that he mastered all these others, but he said the toughest one that he had was humility, because every time he felt proud that he had mastered all the rest, he wasn't humble. So therefore that idea. So I always thought that was kind of comical myself. So let's go back to the course here. Let's move this over here. Okay. So that'll give you an idea, and you're going to have access to this course so you can take it again. What I want to do today is just kind of, this is a cursory going through. We're going to dig in a little bit, but you know, I want you to get the idea. So you may identify, for example, and values are very closely related to goals. The difference is that the goals is how you accomplish your values. So let's say one of your values is to remain in good health or physical fitness. A goal would be to lose weight, lower your cholesterol, to work out consistently, etc. If your value is freedom, and more specifically financial security, then that would be your value. You value financial security. Your goal would be to set up a retirement plan, to contribute more to your 401k, to begin an investment program, to get into real estate, to get out of real estate, any of those things. If your value is honesty, then your goal would be to practice the golden rule, to not lie to anyone. You know, those would be goals to have. If you're in sales, you got to watch that one. Just kidding. The best way I found is the way you don't lie is just don't omit it, don't tell everything in order to make the sale. So here's an idea of how you would put these values into your planner. So you would basically take a sheet of paper, and the size that Hiram Smith and everybody else indicated is the one that works best. If you buy a Franklin system, and I've played with everybody's system. I've tried the books where you I've tried bullet journaling. I've tried, Remember the Milk. I've tried digital, and I've tried paper. And I always go back to, I don't want to say what I know best, but what gets me the best results. At the end of the day, the tool is not what's going to make the results. What I have discovered is that for the tool to be effective, for you to get your things done, you must have a way of capturing those ideas when they come up. So sometimes that may be using your smartphone and just creating a reminder. You need to have a list of your phone numbers, and today that is in our smartphone. Calendar can be on your smartphone on Google Calendars or whatever, the Apple app or the Android app. So you can do those. But when it comes to writing a to-do list, I have found that for a to-do list to be effective, it must be open and on your desk. And for me, it always sits on my left side of my desk next to my keyboard. And the reason for that is because as I'm sitting here, I look over and I can see how many of the things that I put in here for today have been accomplished. And so I'm constantly being reminded of, hey, I got other stuff to do, so I don't waste as much time. And when you work that way, when you get yourself disciplined to opening, the first thing you do is, number one, is take your planner with you everywhere. And number two, even if it's only for a to-do list, which is basically what mine has become, and a place to log down notes, because I still find it quicker to handwrite notes than it is to type them into my smartphone. Now, I could probably use my recorder better in that aspect, but old habits, right? So you have your planner open. Now, I tried that with digital, and essentially I was able to accomplish that. So I would have two monitors. One monitor would be the one that I'm working on. I had three monitors actually in my home, New Jersey. One monitor was running programs and software to do stuff. The other one was one I was actively working on. And the third monitor, which was on my left, was a smaller Mac, which had my to-do list for the day. And so that stayed open all day. And it achieved the same results. But at the end of the day, when it comes time to creating that list, for some reason, when a blank screen is staring at me, I don't think as creatively as I want to. And after being on the computer 10, 12 hours a day, to be candid with you, I don't want to stare at another computer screen. So one of the things that you can do is in this stuff, the values, you can put them in your planner. You can type them up and print them out and put them in your planner, whatever you want to do. But you basically identify what are your highest priorities? What do you value? based on that list that we came up before. So one of your values could be family, you know, and a simple affirmation: I focus on my family. Education: I continually learn. You know, for me, that's always been one of the ideas that I've always had, and that is that I can learn anything. And so I'm always learning, and I enjoy learning. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, now, once you've determined your value, you write one or more simple definitions to clarify what that value means to you. Now, I didn't get too heavy with this when I first did this, or even today. But if you look at it, what are those definitions? I do excellent work. I am open to the ideas of others. I have a positive attitude. I am a team player. What are those things in our language? Anybody?
Affirmations.
Bingo. So what you're doing is, this is all about behavior change. Very good, Larissa. Thank you. So the career is, I am successful in my work. And then a list of affirmations that relate to that area of life. I do excellent work, blah, blah, blah. So again, you can do as much of this part as you want or none of it at all. It takes time and introspection to develop a list of governing values, but this is the key to success. This list represents your highest priorities. It touches on the roles you play as a spouse, sibling, parent, child, employee, and friend. It includes your talent, skills, and interests. You may even feel a little overwhelmed by it all, and that's okay. The secret is to determine which of all these things mean the most to you. So the Wheel of Life accomplishes the same thing. You can look at the Wheel of Life and say, what is a 10 for me in the area of health? What is a 10 for me? What is being at a 10 socially? How many friends? Does that mean I have parties every weekend? Does it mean I have a long list of trusted friends? And so as you begin to think of these things that are outside of the normal realm of our thinking, you begin to get a clearer idea of what you truly want in life and what you want your life to be about. So when I first took this seminar, Hiram said that I'll read it to you first and then I'll tell you what he said. So steel I-beams are used in construction to hold large amounts of weight. They're flat on the bottom, on top and bottom, with a vertical structure in the middle. So if you look at them from the end, they look like a large capital letter I. Now imagine that you're standing on the edge of a cliff with a shallow river 200 feet below you. A large I-beam is spanning the gulf from the cliff you're standing on to the cliff on the other side of the river 140 feet away. Would you walk across the I-beam for 10 bucks? Probably not. The value that is directing your actions in this case is safety. In this instant, your safety is worth more to you than money. Now, when Hiram Smith first put this together, the way he explained it is that he was putting an I-beam across the Twin Towers. And that was the example. And I guess today we can't say that anymore because the Twin Towers aren't around. So that's one of the things that has changed. So now, but what happens if I take your 15-year-old son or daughter and put them on the other side of this 150-foot span? Now, understanding that if you fall, you die. There's no saving you. You're going to die. So now we put your teenage child across the border, and he asked this in a seminar, and the guy said, would you walk across that I-beam to save your child? And the guy said, which one? I guess he had a good son and a bad son, or a good daughter and a bad daughter. And he said, okay. So then he said, well, what if you had a baby and there was a guy at the other end holding that child saying, Larissa, if you don't walk across, I'm dropping this baby right now. Now, the teenager, you might have been like, let me think about it, you know. But with the baby, you're going to be like, nope. And you'd risk safety to walk across that I-beam. He's also asked that question about husbands, and they didn't do too well. Most husbands got pushed. They'd walk across and then push them off. So your governing value should be important enough to you that you will invest your time, resources, energy in making them a fundamental part of your life. So the question we ask ourselves as we're determining our priorities is, would I walk across an I-beam to save this? You know, if I wanted to be a millionaire, as an example, would I walk across an I-beam to be a millionaire? Am I willing to pay that kind of a price, risk my life? The answer is yes, and it's a value. If it's a no, then it isn't. So the next thing we want to do is identify our roles. Now, this is really something that I caught on to later on. This was not part of the original Franklin system, but I found it to be very powerful. And the reason is that many times the things we have to do are based on our roles. And so the first thing that I want you to do, and we're going to do it here, and I want everybody to take a minute to write it down in a second, is and to come up with a short list, and I want to hear from everybody, is I want you to assume several roles. You assume several roles in your day-to-day lives. At one point, you're a spouse, you're a sibling, you're a parent, you're a child, you're an employee, you're an artist, you're an athlete, and friend. And the purpose of this exercise is to look at all the roles you assume and to get a little more concrete about which roles are really important in your life. Consider whom you interact with and how you'd like them to perceive you in your role. This can make a profound difference in how you manage your time, and it pays to look at your choices based on whom they will affect and how they will affect your other roles. So what I'd like you to do is just jot down what are the roles that you have that you do every day. So for example, one of my roles is father. One of my other roles is boyfriend. Another role is father to my cat Savannah. One of my other roles is athlete, right? Another one of my roles is you know, CEO of my company. Another role is employee of that company because I have things that I have to do as an employee. You know, I still have to sweep the floors, so to speak. And so make a list of all the roles that you find yourself. One of my other roles is around learning. So I have a role that I call the professor, you know, because I want to learn stuff. There's things that I want to do. Another role I have is motivator. And so I identify these roles, and initially it's like any other exercise. It's a brainstorming exercise where you just make a list of these roles, and then we decide which ones really have meaning for you. Okay? Everybody do this exercise? Anybody would like to share with us, with the group, what they came up with?
Okay, I'll do it. So I am a mother, a girlfriend, an owner of a business, an employee, a slave, student, friend. Yeah.
Did you say slave?
I should have started with a slave and
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I'm just kidding. It's okay.
I know. Okay. Anybody else would like to go?
I can go.
Go ahead.
So I'm a father, a husband, a teacher, a boss, an employee, a customer, a vendor, an owner, and a student.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's do one more and then we'll move on. One more person needs to borrow a set or get a set. Come on. That would be you, Carlos. Thought I didn't see you there, huh?
All right, thank you. So
Thank
I'm
you.
a son and an uncle, the leader of my brothers and sisters, a property manager, real estate agent, and investor.
Nice hat, by the way.
Thank you.
All right. So that will give you an idea as you listen to mine and to others of what you might have not remembered or this stirs your memory to jot it down. Okay. So here are some examples of roles, and you don't have to write all these down because you're going to get access to this. But right now you may get an idea from this. So let's make a list of the roles, you know, if you haven't already. So you could be a writer, an activist, a mother, a friend, a son, a musician, president of your company, a trainer, a therapist, a distributor, a listener, a creator, entertainer, a wisdom seeker. You know, there's one for those folks. Team member, guardian, partner, bookkeeper, reporter, consultant, daughter, father, son. You can be the roles of grandfather. So you could have a role of grandfather, you could have a role of father, and then you could also have a role as son. And you could have a role as brother or sister. You know, so there's a lot of different roles in family. And that leads us to one of the roles everybody should have in there, I believe, is marketer. You know, and I think Hugh would, yep, I see his head going up and down already. Yeah, marketer. We all must be marketers because we can be the best therapist, we can be the best trainer, we can be the best instructor, but if we don't have people to do it, to help with our skill, which comes through marketing, will never achieve success. And by the way, let me take this to point out that in the group, I put a video that I if I could insist that you watch it, I would. It's a video of Meet Kevin, and he shares with you what he made from his YouTube channel, which is equivalent to 2.5 years earnings. And when you hear the number, you'll be really blown away. In the month of May, even with this coronavirus going on. And so I put the link on the group, the mastermind group page. You'll see it. Take a minute, listen to it. I think it's maybe 15, 20 minutes long. It's definitely worth it because it's part of what we've been talking about in terms of using YouTube for branding, YouTube for generating leads, YouTube for making money. And it's for a lot of people that I know, YouTube started out as a way to promote their websites, to promote their products. And then ultimately they built up such a huge following. He had 31 million views, 31 million. That's insane, right? That's more than Fox News sometimes, I guess. I don't know. But it's insane when you get that kind of views, and it can drive money as another source of income. So I'd like to see all of you think about taking advantage of that. Yeah, he does. He's constantly posting videos 2-3 times a day sometimes. That's, he says now in this latest video that he now works 15 hours. No, sorry. 15 hours a week on YouTube, and it's making him a fortune, a fortune. Okay, next. So now we get into the meat and potatoes of where we want to go, and that is that we've identified our roles and we identified our values. So now it's time to talk about our goals. Now, for most of us, we don't have to go through an exercise like this because we already identified our goal. That's the first thing that I feel is a very high priority in my life, is to get everybody to understand how to get clear about their goals. And I would venture to say that the level of your clarity about your goals in this group is greater than anybody's you'll ever meet. And I talk about people that have, do Bob Proctor, teach Bob Proctor, people that do Tony Robbins, people that teach Tony Robbins. You can take any individual from any group, and you will have the clearest idea of what your goals are than anybody else. Because the first thing you do is you say, tell me your goals, and you'll hear the bullshit that comes out of their mouth. Oh, I'd like to make $50,000. Oh, really? By when? By the end of the year. Oh, okay. That's real clear. Yeah. If you don't know it, if you can't say, hey, by my birthday, February 20th, 2021, I'm going to be earning $100,000 in monthly residual passive income from my global online businesses, real estate investments, and other things. If you can't say that, you don't know your goal. Your subconscious mind doesn't get it. The subconscious mind thrives on clarity. It's a missile. Think of your mind as a missile. If you don't tell the missile where to go, it might just blow your ass up. So it must have an ending point. And that's the beauty, and that's how it has to be. It can't be, I want to make more money, I want a better life. Those are all nebulous. You can't hit that target. You have to, if you're going to aim at it, think of a bow and arrow. You must have a target to hit, right? And one of the things that you have to remember about a target is that there's a bullseye, but if you hit outside the bullseye, you still get points. It's great to hit the bullseye, but sometimes you might only hit 80% of the goal. That's better than nothing. You can always get better. So let's remind you here that there is no someday on the calendar. Goals never happen someday. They happen over time through various actions that take place on actual days. And remember this also, that there is no day in your future when you'll have more time than you have today. The secret to having time for your goals is to plan time for them. So in this purpose of this exercise, it says, what do you envision for your future? Consider this: someday when I have time, I am going to, and jot down 2 or 3 things, which I'm going to do it also. So someday when I have time to, I'm going to, write that down. Where's my today play? Okay. So someday when I have time to, I'm going to spend a week in Cuba. I think I still have relatives there, although I've never seen them. Don't even know their names. They probably wouldn't remember me or know me. But hey, it'd be nice. You know, it's a beautiful country, island, biggest island in the Caribbean, right? Someday when I have time to, I would like to, you know, own a home in Malibu. Sometime when I have time, I would love to something else. Okay, so just get the idea. Jot down 2 or 3 things. Maybe you get more. I have pretty much identified everything I want prior to this, so it's not a matter of when I'm going to, but if I'm going to, but when. So, but let's go on to the next lesson. So now, oh, look, they use the target. Isn't that amazing? I wasn't aware of that. So the secret to reaching your goals is to plan them effectively. Goals are effectively planned when they are in line with your values, have a time deadline. Oh, wow, look, Napoleon Hill got there. It's clearly and specifically defined. Make sure your goals are specific and detailed so you can clearly note when you've reached each step. Owned. This is critical. Same thing with affirmations. You have to own the affirmation. That means it must be yours. You need to truly want what you're working towards to make your goal your own. It often helps to share your goal with others so they can support your efforts. Be very careful with that. Sharing your goal with others that are people that you know will support you and encourage you, yes. Share your goals with people that are not that way, no. Zig Ziglar used to say that most people will help you with give up goals. So if you told your best friend you want to give up smoking, you want to give up drinking, you want to give up coffee, you want to give up any bad habit, you'll never find somebody saying, hey, why are you going to do that? They're always going to be like, oh, great, good idea. That's fantastic. You should give up smoking. Sex? No, don't give that up. Always. But if you said, hey, listen, I'm going to make $1 million within 5 years. Do you hear them go, wow, that's a great idea. You'll do it. I know you can. No, they're going to go like, well, how do you plan on doing that? What are you talking about? You ain't got no money. You're making $50,000 a year. How are you going to get to $1 million? You follow? And also they come from their own, they're seeing your attitudes and behaviors and they're judging you, not on your context. They're judging you on your behavior and actions. People see you the way that you are today, and they don't have the ability to see you how you can become. Part of this is to see yourself already in possession of the money. You need to see yourself as you're going to become, not as you are today. Today you may be a flawed individual, but you're planning on becoming an unflawed individual. But most people can't see that. So that's why we have to believe that that is possible. And anybody that doubts that in any way, shape, or form is not really a friend. I don't want to say an enemy, but that's been my thinking for a very long time. Just to make it clear that this is not a person that I really want to be around. Last step, realistic. Be sure that your goals are achievable within a reasonable amount of time. Any goal is achievable. If I said to you, I want to make $1 million in a year, you might say, hey, Bert, that's not realistic. But if I say I want to achieve $1 million in net income in 50 years, well, I only got to save $20,000 a year to get there. You might say, yeah, that's realistic. So realistic has to do more with the deadline than the goal. Okay? Given enough time, if you had a lifetime, if you lived forever like a vampire, right? Let's say, right? Like you see all these vampire movies. How come these vampires live in creepy houses? They've been around forever. If they had bought Apple, and then, 90 years later, they had kept Apple, they'd be rich, or maybe Microsoft or any of the companies that are doing well now. I think Apple's up to a couple $100 a share, some ridiculous amount. So, if given enough time, anything is realistic, anything, given enough time. So the longer the deadline, the more realistic the thing becomes. So setting goals. So now in the system, there is a process for goal setting, which I do use. And if you've never seen a Franklin Planner system before, it's essentially the one that is recommended is the 2 pages per day. So on the right side of the page is an area for you to take notes. So instead of sticky notes or instead of writing something on your smartphone, you put it all on the right side of your page. And this gives you the ability to, if somebody gives you their phone number and you didn't put it in your cell phone or you didn't dial it right away, you don't lose that number. Or if your wife says, hey, pick up a furnace filter, we need size 52. And you say, okay, you jot it down. Now later on, a year later, if you need furnace filters again, or 3 months from now, you can go back and retrieve that information. So it becomes a retrieval system. Also, it prevents things slipping through the cracks, because how many of us have sticky notes all over the place? So the left side is your prioritized daily task list. And what I do is every night before I go to bed, I make sure I jot down what are the things that I want to do. And then I go back and I rank them in priority. I'm not going to get into that. They do that here in detail. So I'll get to that. But you're basically giving yourself a set of marching orders. So when you wake up in the morning, you're not saying, what do I have to do today? So you have a set of marching orders. Their goal planning sheet is similar to what we do. The only thing they don't include in this is the obstacles. The solutions at one point in time were the actions. So I don't have a big deal with that, but and the reasons why. But that's easy. You can take a separate sheet of paper or on the back of this form and write down all the benefits to be gained, losses to be avoided. But for a short-term goal, this is an excellent way of doing it. You basically write down the value. So the value in this case, I am physically fit. And then they write it the same way we do. By August 16th, I will be physically fit, exercising a minimum of 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. Now that's a good one, because I've seen them where it says, I will exercise 3 times a week, okay, or I will exercise. So it has all the components of a well-stated goal. It has a deadline. It's specific. I will be physically fit, exercising a minimum of 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. That's pretty darn specific, and it's measurable, and it has a deadline. So now what is the steps that he feels he has to take? So the first one is, I'm going to check with my doctor before I begin the new exercise regime. And when is he going to do that? Because if we don't put a deadline on these actions, we'll never take them. They don't have any sense of urgency. And we only act on urgencies. Research workout facilities. Buy new shoes. Talk to Stephanie about being my workout buddy. Okay? Another thing would be, come up with a diet plan. Research a workout program. Hire a personal trainer if you really want to get even better shape. And so then you put deadlines on all these things. And then what happens? Well, this is why they show you the daily page, because once you write them on here, they show up on your daily to-do list. So you create the list and you put down by July 20th, I'm going to call my doctor. Okay. So that went on Tuesday, July 16th. It's due July 20th, but he wrote it down. His A1 for that day is call my doctor. His A2 or her A2 is research workout facilities. Then call Stephanie after workout. That's a B2. Buy new shoes. That's a B1. Why? Because new shoes is not vital to the goal. Is calling the doctor vital? Yeah, right. You shouldn't exercise if you don't know what kind of physical condition you're in. So that could be, if you just had an exam last week, then calling the doctor may not be an A1, may not even be on the list. Research workout facilities. Is that critical to achieving the goal of being in good health? Today, it wouldn't be, because coronavirus. So it might be a buy exercise equipment, buy a spin bike, whatever. But it goes from the goal sheet to the daily to-do list. There is continuity all the way through. It goes to getting it done. Does everybody see that? Any questions on that? No, we're all good? All right.
Good.
Next one. So now there is a goal planning form that you can get for free. If you click on this, they give you a sample goal setting form so you can use it yourself now. If you don't want to use the system, you can kind of create it on your own. So what you do is you write down the goal. Now the beauty of it is that your goal sheet, which is, I transferred to this years ago because the 3-ring binder, I used to have to carry that with me in my briefcase. And if I had a time between appointments or I had to wait, I was at a diner getting a soup in the wintertime, I'd sit there reviewing my goals. But because of this system, I was able to do that and have it always with me. I didn't have to carry out multiple systems. So in my day plan, my timer, I'm still finishing up my Time Success Planner, which is basically this system. It's just they added a few nuances. Same thing, no difference, although they don't have the ability to check off that little box right there. And the sheets are not, I'm used to this system, the day timer, the Franklin planner. So, you know, now in your one planning system, you have everything. If you're sitting waiting for an appointment, you wake up in the morning, you want to review your statement, you put it in your planner. You want to look at what actions you need to take, it's in your planner. Everything is in your planner, so you never have an excuse of why you can't do something. I have a copy of the self-confidence. I know the self-confidence formula, right? But I still have a copy of it in there. I have pictures in the front of my grandkids, and a picture of a Corvette that I want as well. And I have a picture of my son with his black belt. So these are laminated in the front of the planner. I also have a copy of Paul Meyer's personal success plan in the planner. So yeah, there are other things, but I like it when I open this up that I can go and look at it to get myself in focus. So, you know, this is the 2 pages per day system. So left side is your appointment. So what I do in the morning is I open up Google Calendar and then I transfer the appointments to here in pencil. Because sometimes people say, hey, Bert, I can't meet with you today. And then I have to, I know that they're in my calendar. I look at it, I put them here, then I erase it. I go to my calendar and I delete them so that it opens up slots for somebody else. But this way I know at all times when I'm looking at my appointment book, I don't have to go and open up, go to my Google Calendar. I can look at this one page and know everything that's going on for the day, everything. I know what appointments I have. I know what time I've blocked out. I know what things I need to do, everything. This is like what I call my dashboard right here. Okay, the left side page is my dashboard for the day. So weekly planning. Now, weekly planning is basically something you do. I do it on Sunday mornings over coffee. And the whole idea is based on the big rocks, little rocks. So big rocks are your goals and the things you want to do in life. The little rocks are the bullshit that gets in the way, right? The urgencies, the activities you must do. Cut your hair, wash your clothes, sweep the floor, empty the dishwasher. Those are not going to get you any closer to your goals, but they have to be done. But those things always seem to always get done, don't they? But a goal like having $1 million saved or saving $8,333 a week doesn't get done. They don't have the same urgency because we allow them not to. So by planning weekly, we put the big rocks in first. And there's a video that they tell you to go watch, which is a great explanation of the big rocks. It takes about 20 minutes, so we're not going to do it for the sake of time tonight. But when you go to this link and go through this course, it'll show you. So basically, by planning weekly, it allows you to put the most important events, the big rocks, the goals up front before the week gets hectic. So if you want to be a great father and your goal is to spend 2 hours a week with your son or daughter, you would go to your calendar and say, okay, I'm going to do that on Saturday an hour and Sunday an hour. And you block it out. Now somebody says, hey, can you go golfing with me on Saturday? You look at your calendar, you say, hey, sorry, I can't fit you in at 9 o'clock. I have an appointment with my son. So how does 12 sound? Or maybe not this week. But if you didn't have it blocked out, if it wasn't there, we'd all do the same thing. Sure, I'll go golfing with you, or sure, I'll go do this with you. And so the important things don't get done. Now, tips for effective planning: schedule a day each week to plan, make it the same day. Usually a weekend day when it's quiet before the work week begins. We don't block out about 30 minutes, plan this in the same place each week, and make weekly planning a habit. And so the weekly planning there's a process here. I'm not going to go into it, but when you go back to this, you'll see it. It involves going back and reviewing your values, reviewing what values you worked on last week, reviewing your master task list. A master task list is all those things that you want to get done, but you don't know when. So for example, cut the lawn, maybe something you have to get done, but right now you don't know if you're going to do it this Saturday or next Saturday. So for now, you put it on your master task list and you review it. The compass card, we'll talk about that, and then your daily sheets. So now you're going to maximize by reviewing your values. You're going to then maximize by making sure that those values get transferred over into your daily tasks. So on your weekly planning, you're going to say, okay, my value is exercise. Okay. So when am I going to exercise this week? Well, I'm going to exercise 3 days. So I'm going to exercise Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, let's say. He doesn't have it here for Wednesday, but he has yoga schedule here as exercise. You notice the A1 is daily planning, always. So I have my A1 every day is plan daily instead of daily planning. I have that as my A1. It's the first thing I get to check off. And there has been research showing that putting a check mark on this is like getting a like on Facebook. It fires off an endorphin. The tools are simple. The check mark means completed. A dot means in process. So if I have a thing here that says call Larissa and I call her up and I leave a voice message, that just gets a dot, meaning I didn't accomplish that because the purpose of that would be to reach her, right? So when I look back on my list and I see a dot there, I realize, hey, let me call her back up. It's almost 3 o'clock. She hasn't called me back. Read 10 pages, task forward. That means he didn't get to do it that day. So he's going to task it forward to another day. Okay. So nothing slips through the cracks. Everything has a disposition. Call Mary about signage. Okay. There was a circle. Then that circle became a check mark. The circle means it was delegated. It was delegated to J, first initial J. So if you have an assistant and you assign one of these tasks to your assistant, you would put a circle in that task area. You would put their name or their initials in the little bar. And when it's done, you would put a check mark. But what it does is it doesn't allow it to slip through the cracks. So your master task list, you have 2 sides to it. So let's say that I decide in January that I want to go away in November. I don't know when specifically. I haven't planned that far, but I know I want to take a vacation in November. So what I would do is I would go to my November master task list and I would put down plan trip. So when November got here, I'd know that I need to take care of that. So this is an area where you put the things that you don't know when you're going to do them and you'd like to do them, but they may not be important enough to get done, but you capture them so that you get them out of your head. Okay, it's a master task list, or what Hobbes called a grass catcher list. It catches all the crap so you don't forget it. Now we get into a really new tool that Franklin came across, which is called your weekly compass. And this is really a great tool. And I'll let you guys and gals read it over in more detail, but I'll just go over it briefly. So this tool is, you do this on your planning day, and you decide of these 4 areas: physical, social, mental, and spiritual. And you can add your own if you like. What is the one thing you're going to accomplish in that area of life today? So let's say you don't need anything. You add in here family. So you might say, okay, now you can also cover that in roles, but what you're doing is you're setting goals. So social, invite Matt for dinner. Mental, read 3 chapters. Spiritual, read Luke chapter 5. Physical, I'm going to walk 45 minutes 4 times this week. That's what I want to do this week. Now you also identify your roles. So as a husband, you decide that your big rock this week is you want to make a date night reservations. You're going to take your spouse to a fancy place and have dinner. Father, ice cream with Alex. The important things that matter that we're going to forget to do because life is going to get in the way. With this staring you in the face, because that's what this is all about, right? Is getting in your mush every day, like our statement, right? When we say our statement, it gets in our mush and we can't forget about it. Then, so our complete card gets filled out and it's part of our divider that goes to mark the page. It's our page finder. And it's behind a plastic thing so you can see it. You can look at it so you're constantly being reminded, hey, every day you're looking at it going, hey, did I get this done? Right now I'm staring and I'm saying, oh, wow, I didn't get this one done. So if I see something I didn't get done and it's still early enough in the week, okay, ice cream with Alex. When am I going to do that? Okay, I'm going to do that Thursday. So what do I need to do that? Do I need to call Alex? Do I just need to tell Alex? Do I need to email him, text him? I'm going to put that in there as an action. Son, help dad hang his clothes, something. I can't read that. Let's see. Help dad hang his closet doors. Okay. So if that's something that's important to me to do this week, I'm going to make an appointment right now with getting that done. Let me just take this back
here. Okay.
So the compass card is where we're looking at our role. So if my role is this week I identify, you may not identify every single role. If you notice, there's only 8 spots here. You could have 15 or 20 roles, you know, but you identify which one is important that you need to work on this week. So you identify that, you know, you're always going to probably have CEO here or president or employee. You may not have husband there. There may not be nothing that you want to do in that role. You may not do anything in brother. You may have something in there as father, you know, to look over my son's homework every night was one of mine for many years because I knew that if I didn't do it. Now they also give you the ability to get a copy of this card. So if you don't have the system, you can begin using it, although it wouldn't serve the same purpose at this point. So what you want to do is you want to take these big rocks, marketing manager, one-on-one with Todd, and you want to schedule it. Okay, the principle, what gets scheduled gets done. And when we schedule these tasks, they get done. So some tasks we may not schedule. We may just put them into our daily to-do list, our prioritized daily task list. But if you can schedule it, that is always the best thing to do. Because if you schedule it, it'll get done. And so if you see, there's constant feed into your daily task list, so nothing gets by. But let's say that, you know, and you're looking at your week and you're saying, okay, well, Monday's a busy day. I have 5 appointments. I'm going to be on the phone for 6 hours. I doubt I'm going to have a lot of downtime to get a big project done. So so one-on-one with Todd, that doesn't fly for today. Read 3 chapters. Yeah, I'll do that at 9 o'clock tonight. So I might block out that time. But if you do decide not to do it, it's simply because you made a decision not to do it. It's not because you forgot about it. Okay, so big rocks, time is limited. You can only do so much in a day, much like you can only fit so many rocks in a jar. If we relate the activity we do each day to rocks, some rocks will be far more important than others. Those are the big rocks. And the activities that are less important are the little rocks. Time wasters would be sand. So these are the big rocks: relationships and families, planning, major projects, big opportunity, vacation. So if we put these in first, then the chances are the little rocks, the sand, will fit. But if we put the sand in first, you know, with the little rocks, then there's never room for the big rocks. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, great.
Yep.
Okay. Now, so here's an example. Don't crowd your jar. If you want to fit all this stuff into today, you need to do it in the correct order. If you fill your jar with sands and pebbles before you begin adding your big rocks, you won't be able to fit them all into your day. So by fitting in the things that are important to us, and again, this is about choices. There is no right or wrong, but it's all about choices. But at least if you're identifying what are the big things that you need to do this week, then the little things, there'll always be plenty of time to do those because they tend to get done. And there's the video here that you can watch. If you click on this, there'll be a 4-minute video that talks about the big rock concept. I strongly encourage you all to watch it. It's really great. Kind of dated from when it was filmed. Okay, so daily planning. Daily planning only takes a few minutes each day, but it'll save you a lot of time throughout the day. It's also a great stress reducer because planning allows you to assess upcoming meetings and prepare for them. Daily planning is where your big ambitions meet with actions. So we went to our values, we set our goals, we plan weekly. Now we're going to start taking action on a daily basis. And the tools for effective daily planning are looking at yesterday, looking at our monthly calendar, looking at today's prioritized list, prioritizing our tasks, and ordering our tasks. So we create today's list by reviewing our goals, our values, our grass catcher list, our master task list, and that gives us ideas of what we want to do today. So if you notice, you're not letting anything slip through the rocks. You're capturing it, you're getting it out of your head and onto pen and paper. So review yesterday, what did you accomplish and what will you need to carry forward? So this is yesterday. Okay, so my number 1 is always my daily planning. I'm always going to get a check mark for that because that's the first thing I'm going to do either the night before or the first thing in the morning. So order water filters. Well, I didn't get that done, so I'm going to do that today. Today looks a little less busy. I'm going to put that in there. Create promo calendar. I didn't get that done. I'm going to do that today also. Now, if you keep task forwarding the same item 2 or 3 times and you don't get it done, you have to ask yourself, is this really important? There's a reason why I'm not getting it done. Is it just pure procrastination? or is it because it's not that important to me? And so again, it's all about choices. That's really what it's all about, is you get to make a choice. If you don't do it, it's not because you forgot. It's not because it fell through the cracks. It's because you made a choice. So if on here it says, call Joe for proposal, and you kind of don't want to call him because you're afraid that Joe's going to say no, and you transfer it over from Monday to Tuesday, and from Tuesday to Wednesday, and Wednesday to Thursday. By Thursday, you got to ask yourself, what's the worst that Joe's going to do? Say no? And you get to make the call and you get it done. You don't allow procrastination to continue motivating you, or fear. After all, what is fear anyway? Fear is always fear of the unknown. That's all. If you knew it, you wouldn't fear it. So daily planning is first, you check your appointments. Now, I don't necessarily use this part here. This is the monthly calendar. It's too small. So my first step is to open up Google Calendar and take a look at the calendar. And that's where I keep everything, because it's just easier to work with. This is really small, although I will have in here certain things like birthdays and stuff, but I transferred everything to Google Calendars. It just works better. And that's okay, because I have all my tools available. My Google Calendar is available to me on my desktop, my laptop, my smartphone, my tablet, so I can always access it, and I can set reminders, which I can't with a paper-based system. So this is one tool that I don't use. Now, you may find that you want to use it. That's up to you. Sometimes seeing a week at a glance like this in paper helps you. For me, I'd rather just look at a month at a glance on Google. But I make sure that every morning I transfer over, or the night before, I look at what appointments do I have. And then I transfer them over and I write them down in pencil. I'll use ink here, but pencil on the appointments, because this I may not do, but it doesn't matter, because I'll still task it forward. But this, if somebody cancels, I have to make two steps. One, forward, change their appointment to something else or delete it. And then that means if somebody messages me, and I love when people do this, hey, Bert, I can't make it today at 12. Okay. When do you want to do it by? I'll let you know. Okay. Well, now you're taking a risk, because my schedule, and I'll tell them, hey, listen, I appreciate that. Understand one thing, my schedule fills up quickly. I only work so many hours for phone work. So I would suggest that you reschedule as soon as possible. And if they don't, what do I do? What would I do if they don't, if they say, okay, and now let's say it's somebody that I want to present something to. It's a money-making opportunity. What would I do here if they cancel? Anybody?
Wouldn't you follow up?
Yeah, but what do I do? What action do I take? Let's say I decide that it's Tuesday. They cancel my appointment. When will I follow up with them? I make a decision right in the moment.
I guess Tuesday you'll email that person and ask when the availability is.
Okay, so I could email them right in the moment and say, hey, when will you be available? But they said, listen, I don't know. In the email, they said, listen, I have to cancel for today. I'll reschedule. I'll let you know. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give them 2 or 3 days. So I would go into my Thursday or Friday page, and what would I put in my list here?
Follow up with so-and-so.
Yeah, follow up with Larissa.
Yeah.
And then I would put the date. What date? This date. I would put here 7/16 in parentheses, letting me know what? That she had an appointment with me on 7/16. And there may be information about her, because maybe on the next page, which is the note page, I might have written down why I'm going to talk to Larissa. Let's say I'm following up from Larissa because I sent her a proposal for a website design, and we set an appointment to talk about it. And I have here, talk with Larissa about these points, get approved for this. So now I have a note, and I can remember, hey, because I might not remember on Friday that we had an appointment Tuesday. But now if I can send her an email. Hey, Larissa, I know we were supposed to talk on Tuesday. You want to reschedule. I haven't seen anything come through. Can you please make a decision? Can we decide now when to talk? My schedule is open right now for next week. Is Monday or Tuesday better for you? Whatever it is. If she doesn't respond, when I send that out, do I get a check mark? No. No, I don't get a check mark. I get a dot. I get a dot until Larissa responds to me. So now every time that I'm looking at this during the course of the day, it says, call or text Larissa about appointment. I'm looking at this. I see, hey, it's 4 o'clock. Let me check my email. Did Larissa contact me? No, she didn't. So now I have a choice. I may pick up the phone and say, hey, Larissa, I hate to bother you, but I really want to get this nailed down for next week. It's really important that we go over this material. Or I may not. I may say, okay, screw it. She didn't respond to me. I'll follow up with her on Monday. So what do I do then? It's easy. Where do I go? I go to Monday's sheet, right? And what do I put in here? Follow up with Larissa. And in parentheses, 7/16. That's when she had my appointment with me. Now, Monday, I'm going to be a little bit more forceful with her. I'm probably not going to email her. I'm going to pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, you know, on Tuesday, we set up an appointment, and it's Monday now, and, you know, we haven't scheduled anything. Let's get something down hard right now. Okay? So now I never lose the lead or never lose the follow-up, because this may be lost in my follow-up system. My CRM may not trigger it. CRMs suck, but I'll never forget about it because it's on this list, and all day long I'm staring this down. Okay? Every day I list 5 people to call or contact, and I can't let those go. Those are A's. And if I have a dot that I email them or text them, I have a follow-up after that. Everybody follow me on this?
Yeah.
On how to use the tool? All right. So now what I do is I do put this here, even though it's on my calendar. And the reason I use this is because then it's my dashboard. I can look at a glance and see exactly how much free time I have and how much committed time I have. I begin the day by writing down what I need to do, and I don't assign any priority to it. Okay, I just mind dump everything that needs to be done for today. Now I have to assign a value, because not everything on that list has a high priority, right? Order water filters. Is that vital? May not be. If the water's coming out brown, is it vital?
Yep.
Yeah. But if the water is fine, you know, I might let it go, you know, till tomorrow. Call mom. Is that vital?
Depends who it is.
Yeah, right. Which mom right now? If mom it just came out of the hospital a week ago, is calling mom vital?
Yes.
Yeah. If mom fell down 2 days ago and hit her head, is that vital? Yeah. If mom has been away for a vacation, is it vital? If you can't stand your mom, is it vital? Yes. Well, mom is always vital. Okay. And you'll know that when she passes away, right? You'll understand. Renew prescriptions. If you still have half of the prescriptions left, no. If you're down, if you just took your last pill and it's something you need, like heart medication, that goes on my list. Does it always get done? No, sometimes I'm an asshole and I don't still do it. But if I don't write it down, I'll forget, except next morning when I wake up and go take my pills, and there's none there. Review Mary's research. Vital, it's job related, obviously. It could be IA. Right? So we're going to identify now how to determine it. So to make the most of the time that we have, we need to determine which of our tasks are the most important and have the discipline to complete those tasks. Our most valuable tasks are based on our governing values. Tasks related to your family, your employment, your health would be examples of vital tasks. So family, job, and health. Vital. Okay, so and high A, medium is B, and C is C. So you only want to be doing A tasks first. Then if you do all your A tasks, then you do your Bs. And if you do your Bs, you make a new list because Cs are low value. They're a waste of time usually. So now we want to assign a value. So daily planning, is that vital? Yes, it's an A. Order water filters, it's a B, not super vital. Create promo calendar, does that have to do with work? So it's an A. Review Mary's research, may not have to do with work. It's a B. Call mom, always an A. Renew prescriptions, this person's going to get in trouble. We put it down as a C, low value. He must have a lot. Schedule budget review, even though it's work, it's still got to be. Everybody's got different priorities, right? So now, order each task. Now you go through each task and you assign A tasks, and then you assign a number. So you look at your A's and you say, which one am I going to do first? Now you may have here, call mom as an A, but you get up at 6 o'clock every morning. Your mom doesn't. Is that going to be the first thing you're going to do that day? No. So your A1 will be to do your planning. And then if you had, A2, in my case, would not be that. I might be able to do the promo calendar before that. And then my A2 maybe call mom. And what I might do is go to my calendar and pencil in. I know that she gets up around 10. So I'm going to pencil her in at 10:30 and I'll put call mom here in pencil. And I'll block out a half hour of time for her. Okay?
What happens when you have unforeseen events going through while you're going through your daily planner? Like I have that all the time being in the business that I am.
Yeah,
So
you're
I'll be
retail driven.
sitting there. I'm sorry?
In retail, that's common.
Yeah.
So the most important thing is always what? The customer. Okay, that is your most important duty. Second would be anything affecting service to that customer. So if an employee calls out and you have a long list of stuff to do, your priorities just changed.
Yeah.
Now you need to get somebody to fill in that employee, or you got to go work that position. So that list could be thrown out for the entire day.
Right.
But what are you going to do? You're going to look at it at the end of the night and you're going to say, wow, I needed to call the bank about that loan. Or you may decide, it may be in here, call bank about loan approval. And you still have that emergency, but what can you still do? You got to go pee, you got to eat, you got to go to the bathroom. Those are times when you can pick up the phone and make a quick call. And you won't forget about it because you've already identified it as your A. But now at the end of the day, you're going to be like, okay, yesterday an employee didn't come in. I got up at 8 o'clock. Today I'm going to get up at 6 and I'm going to spend an hour trying to knock off a few of these things. Again, you're in control. You may say, hey, I don't care. That's another thing you can do. But if you're in control, if you constantly know what you need to do and it's not slipping through the cracks, you're in control. You may decide not to do any of those things. You may decide to do them all. You may decide to delegate them, but they're going to get done or they're going to get dropped. The 3 Ds, do it, delegate it, drop it, apply. That's a planning tool. When you get something, you either do it. If it takes less than 3 minutes, do it. If you can't do it in 3 minutes, you delegate it or do it later or drop it.
And do we still carry over the task that we need to do? So let's say, I did not, let's say, call my mom.
Okay, yeah. So I look at my schedule, right? The first thing I do is I open my schedule for tomorrow. Now, if tomorrow, if the person that called out sick today said, I don't know if they're going to be in tomorrow. So I assume the worst, right? I'm in restaurant business. So I have to assume if they're out one day, they might be out too. So I'm going to basically put a note in here, if I didn't do it already, is to call Joe to see if he can fill in for her. Okay. Or I might say, okay, I'm going to have to fill in for her. So I'm going to have to be, working her position at 10 o'clock. She's my chef and salad chef. So I'm going to get in I'm going to get up early and I'm going to do the salads between 10 and 11. And I look at my calendar and I block out times. So when can I call mom? Well, I'm going to take dinner at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to call mom at 5. So while I'm eating dinner, hey mom, how you doing? Yeah. And that works because you can eat and not listen to mom at the same time. When they get older, we tend to do that, right? One day they'll be doing it to us. So don't worry, it all comes around. So good question, very good. So these are the symbols that we use to basically work with the system. So when you start a task, place a dot beside it. So if the task is to call somebody, to follow up on somebody, it gets a dot. When you complete it, you turn that dot into a check mark. If you're unable to complete the task for any reason, schedule the task in your planner on the day you plan to complete the task. And then after that, place an arrow beside the task on your current list. So I didn't get it done today. I don't want to procrastinate on this because this is an important one. So I'm going to go and schedule it for tomorrow. And I'm going to pick a time when it gets done. Sometimes you delete a task. You were going to follow up on the loan for the bank and you get a text message or an email saying, hey, your loan's been approved. So now you can drop that task. You don't have to task forward it. You drop it. And then you can delegate. So now let's say you have on here that you want to hire a new pastry, a new salad chef as a backup. And all of a sudden somebody walks through the door looking for a job, and you go into your list and you drop it. Or you assign, you call up David and say, David, get off your lazy ass and get in here and work. You're going to be cutting salad for me. And you put a D here for David and check off because you delegate that to him. Get your ass in here. Stop making excuses, right? So, but again, you're in control. You're looking at your entire picture and you're making decisions based on your priorities. So this would be a practice exercise that we would do. And let me just move this over here and see how much left we have. There's a video when you get to this page, which you can watch on how to prioritize. And let's see, so we've gone through just about everything. We're at the end of the quiz, so we're going to skip that. And there's only about 2 or 3 more pages of it that you can do. I'm going to put the link in the mastermind text messenger on Facebook instead of here, so that it doesn't go away. And you guys and gals can go back and take this course on your own. Let me log out. And where you find it is you go to franklinplanner.com. Let me just get rid of this. And when you go to the Franklin Planner page, you'll see on the bottom here, take our free planner training course. So you just click on Learn More, and it's going to ask you to create a login, which basically means you got to give them an email address. You could use a fake one, a real one, whatever you want. You can opt out of their emails after you're done. It doesn't really matter. Okay.
What are the planners cost?
The planner for a year, 2 days, I think is like $39. And that gives you pretty much everything you need. So it's not expensive, not at all. The binder for it can be expensive because you can get it in leather. Let me go back over here. So you can get the binders as pretty as you want. So you have like this really red one, which is leather, which is $139, you know, or you can go and get the cheap plastic one, which is $44. Or you can go to eBay, and if you go to eBay, and the one that I use and the one that I recommend most is the classic version. And you can usually, because a lot of people got off of a lot of people go through this process where they dump on digital and they think that's going to be the solution, and then not. So you can go to eBay and pick it up for like $19, $17, $9. You can get a used leather one, and leather doesn't go bad. You can get some leather cleaner for $5 and clean it up. But you can get them binders that would cost you $150. You can buy them for cheap dollars. Okay, here's one for $25. It's a leather planner. You know, leather planner, just to give you an idea. Here's the Franklin Covey leather. And that would be, let me see. It's over here. Okay, so a leather planner, $135, $129, $149. So you can get one here for dirt cheap. Look, here's a nice flowery one, if you like that stuff. You know, for $39. You know, all you have to do is make sure that it's classic size. That's what it's called. And you then just go to Franklin and you pick up you only need to buy 2 things here. You just need to get the refill, which is but I'll send you a link to this anyway. And if you have questions, I'll walk you through it. So you want to get ring bound. That way you can add stuff in and out. And then you just want the classic size. And the one that I got is, let's see. Wrong one. is you want the starter set, okay, which is like $6, and then you just want the pages, which is tabbed original daily. Nope, that's not it. You have different versions of it, but they're all the same. It's about $39. So basically, for under $50, maybe 75 if you get a binder over here. You can find a $10 binder. I mean, they're dirt cheap these days. And you can get leather ones. If you get the vinyl ones, they're like nothing. But even a good leather one, here's a nice one. Black burgundy, $29. This one is $17.99. You don't want it to be more than 1.5 inch thick. That'll give you enough space to keep everything in it. Here, this one's $26. Black leather. That's cheap. That's really cheap. Shipping, you can find it with free shipping. So you can find whatever you want. This one, you clean it up, it'll be fine. There's no scratches or anything. So just a little bit of work on the binder, but everything else is really simple. There's also a link where you can try it. There's like pages you can print out and try the system without buying it for like a month. And I'll send that to you guys and gals as well. Let me just go back over here. Where is it? The one that I like, let me just go here. Daily, 2 pages per day, original. Okay, so let's just find it here. Okay, so this is what the daily pages look like. Okay, you get it in compact. There's a coupon for 15% off. If you want to buy a new binder, there's a coupon I'll send you for 20% off on that. You can start it in July. You can start in October. And this is basically it. And right now it's $35.95. So if we add it to cart, and let's go to checkout, there's a coupon for $15. So here, so with the coupon, it becomes $30. So it was $35, it becomes $30. And, and then you get the starter pages at $7. So the whole thing will be $40. And then you go to eBay and you look for a Franklin Covey binder, classic size, and you pick and go through. There's tons of them to choose from. I mean, there's many to choose from. There's like 9. There's 50 per page, and there's still more than 9 pages. So you can change it to 200 per page just to get an idea. And you can pick on the condition that you want it in. So you can pick it up relatively cheap if this is the way you want to go. I'll send you guys and gals the link. I'll send you the link to the course. I would suggest you go through it again. I'll send you the link for the paper ones that you can print out if you want to play around with it a few days. I would suggest you just go back over the course again. That way you'll have a better bearing. And you don't have to go crazy. I mean, digital calendars, I've got like things, it's $86 a year. NOSB was $73 a year. So the digital comes out just as expensive. And the problem is that it doesn't stay open. That's really the key. The key is that it must be visible. It must be in your face. And the key really is, in my opinion, is that you give yourself a set of marching orders. So you wake up in the morning and you don't have to say, what is the most important thing for me to do now? Okay, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the DMPS call. At 7:30, I'm off. What am I going to do? If you notice, some days I cut that DMPS call off. Some days I chat like a little, rabbit or something, right? Some days it's okay, we're done, let's go. Why? Because obviously I scheduled something for 7:30, right? So I got to get off. It's Franklin. Yeah, you got it right. It's franklinplanner.com. Yep, Carlos. And I'll send all the links so you guys and gals can get all the discounts and stuff. And so, because I schedule something, so I might schedule, I might have to go to the UPS store. I see they're open at 7:30. So as soon as I get off the call, I jump in my car and drive over there, get that done and out of the way. I might have to go to Publix. Publix opens at 7. Sometimes I'll drive to Publix while I'm talking, you know, and you know, while you guys and gals are doing your statement, you'll hear me go, okay, I got to go outside now. That means I can't scream in the middle of Publix my statement, right? Publix is a supermarket down here. So I try to get things done and fit as many things in. You know, I'm on the call. It doesn't mean I can't do anything else, right? I can exercise. I can get other things done, you know, dropping off stuff at Publix. I can mute it and say, you know, to the UPS store, here's this thing, send it back to Amazon, whatever it is. So, but if I don't have it in my planner, if the night before I didn't decide that that's what I wanted to do, I'm not going to get it done. And so now it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to UPS store now, you know, traffic, blah, blah, blah. So, but it's done already, right? So the key is, you know, like I even write stupid shit down, like dishwasher empty. Why? Because if I don't write it down, I'm not going to remember to do it. You know, vacuum the house, right? That's something that, you know, has to be done at least once a week. When I wasn't writing it down, it didn't get done as often. Now it gets written down, it gets done, you know? So I put in my thing, you know, DMPS 2X, you know, DMPS 5X. That means I'm looking at it and it's reminding me I got to do it 5 times if I didn't do it already. Sometimes because it's on here and I want to get it off my list, I'll do it before the call. Right? And so now it's checked off. Next thing is go drop off the crap at UPS and then go to Publix. By the time I'm done with the call, I've gotten 3 things off my list already. Sometimes it means not going to bed early and staying up and getting stuff done. You know, maybe it's, you know, maybe I haven't spoken to my son. He works in the car dealership. He doesn't get off till 9 o'clock. He doesn't get home till 10. You know, I'll say, hey, you know, can I call you at 10 tonight? Dad, I'm retired. All right. How does 10:30 sound? No, you know, or I'll say, okay, I'll call you tomorrow at work. What time should we? And I always ask this question: what time is going to be good for you? Oh, I don't know. Just call me. I say, all right. What's better? Yeah, I get that. What time? Like I'll call you right at 9 o'clock when the dealership opens. No, don't call me then. Okay. So you know, because people say call me anytime, but they don't mean that. You know, call them at 11 o'clock at night if you want to try me out. You know, they're not going to pick up that call. So it's call me anytime doesn't work. So I'll always say just out of curiosity, I used to tell customers this was the funniest thing I ever discovered. I would call people up and I'd say, hi, is Hugh home? And they'd say, no, Hugh's not here. I go, well, do you know when he'll be back? No, no idea. And then I'd say the magic words. Well, if you did know, what time would Hugh be back? Oh, he'll be home about 6. And I'd sit there and go, what the fuck? It's the same thing I asked. But all I said is, if you did know, what time would he be back? That implies that they knew already. And try this next time somebody says, I don't know. Say, well, if you did know, try it. I swear to God, it'll blow your mind. You'll be sitting there going, damn. Either I'm very smart or you're dumb. But that's how it works, you know. If you did know, it's magical. All right, everybody. I hope you got some value from this. I'll put all the links and everything up in the messenger. I'll put it in the group as well, just so it's there for posterity. But this way you can access it tonight. And, you know, schedule a time. I think this course, the whole thing takes about 45 minutes to go through it. You can probably flip through a lot of the crap we already did, but you can focus in on what you felt you needed more reinforcement on. And so I'll send you that. I'll send you the links and blah, 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 blah. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Any questions before I go? I always forget that part.
Are you going to be on tomorrow's call?
I'm hoping to. It's been tough. I'm up. I just can't make it. Although twice this week, I have 3 alarms that go off. And as my girlfriend would profess, I slept right through all 3 alarms. 6 alarms. 6 alarms. It's my sleeping schedule is screwed up, and the humidity down here. She just reminded me that last year in July, it was the same way. It just, for some reason, it makes it really difficult for me to breathe, and so it zaps my energy. And that's not even going outside. That's just being inside. It still does it. Last year, we went to the beach on July 4th, and it was hot and humid. And when I got home, I laid down and I fell asleep. And then the rest of the week, I was dragging ass like crazy. And she said, you know what, this happened to you last year at the same time. And so I finally put it together. Humidity. It's the only thing that's different, hot and humidity. It makes it hard for me to breathe, you know. And energy, where does energy come from? Energy is a combination of oxygen in your blood system. And so if your heart's not pumping out enough blood, because it's not getting in, your oxygen isn't, your energy is affected by how much oxygen you take in. So if you're not getting enough oxygen, the blood isn't working as effectively. And I already don't have a super effective heart. So it just really kills me. And sometimes I'll just be like, oh, I don't want to do that. And in fact, I canceled yesterday's thing because I was just like, oh, I'm drained. And then here's the funny thing. Then I can't go to sleep and I stay up till 3 in the morning. This morning, I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, I'm not going to go. I'm going to stay up for the call. And then my eyes said, close your eyes. And I closed them for a minute. And next thing I know, it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, just screwy. But I'll be there tomorrow. I'm drinking
wonderful job. Okay.
I'm drinking Red Bull right now. So.
Oh, wow. That's bad.
Oh, that's awesome, right? All right, everybody. I will talk to you tomorrow morning. I hope everybody, any questions from anybody? Anything that we can answer right now before we go?
Great presentation.
Well, thank you. Thank Franklin. They gave it to me for free. I was looking to create it, and then I ran across it, and I said, free is better than work. Yeah. All right, everybody. Hope you got value. Even if you don't use the system, although I will say it's a great investment. The only thing is don't get lulled by digital, because with digital, you can create that list today, and then tomorrow, if you didn't get the stuff done, it's still on that list for tomorrow. But see, that's part of the problem. You see, the beauty of this system is that if I don't get it done today, guess what I got to do tomorrow? I got to write it all over again. And then if I don't get it done tomorrow, what do I have to do? I have to write it down again. And so at some point, I'm going to get tired of writing it down, because I'm going to say to myself, is this really, do I want to do it, or is it something I can delegate it, or can I just dump it? But if I have it automatically being added to the list, I got one software that has 150 items for my to-do list, and because they all kept getting forwarded, you know, and I'd make a list of 30 things. See, on digital, there's no limit. See, here you only got about 15, 20 spots, right? And then once I write things down, I look at them and I say, okay, Geico survey. I got a survey that I got to do with Geico. How long will that take? Well, nothing takes 5 minutes. So automatically for me, I say everything takes 30 minutes. If it gets done in 10, I got bonus time. But I always block out 30 minutes. So I'll say, okay, Geico survey. It's been on my list for 3 days now. So now it's scheduled for tomorrow. Guess what time? 7 o'clock. So while I'm on the call, I'm going to do that stupid survey. Okay? And that's how you get some stuff done, right? I find that if you get up early every day, you tend to accomplish more anyway. Does everybody pretty much agree with that one? I find the days when I get up like 10, I feel like the day's already passed me by. I'm having breakfast at 10, which means I'm not having lunch at 12, which means I'm eating lunch and dinner together. And then by 2, 3 in the morning, I'm hungry again. So it just screws up my schedule. All right, everybody.
Thank you so much. It was
my
great.
pleasure.
Get some sleep, everybody.
And this is recorded. This is recorded, so I will be posting it soon. Do this on your desktop or laptop. Very difficult on the phone. Yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely. All right. I'll put all the links and everything shortly. Give me a few, and then you'll have everything. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.
So much.
You too.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.